Hey there, beautiful internet and you fantastic creatures of the beyond. Let's make a small experiment today and introduce this video into this page. So in order to do that, we're just gonna edit this, and to introduce that we have to type video. It's gonna be a very short experiment, but I'm gonna show you how cool it is. And this is technically not SVG related anymore because we're past Inkscape and SVG at this point, but we started from there, so let's finish. So now we just need a source, and let's give this source a source, and we have to, let me just copy it. So we just have to push it in here. And now if we would go into our file and refresh, ta-da! Our video is here. But it's not playing and it's muted. No, it's unmuted actually, sorry. So we have some controls over the video right now. But it's quite big and we have a lot of issues seeing it as a background, right? Well, there is a simple solution to that, and that is called CSS. But before we jump into CSS, let's actually complete this video with some extra things. First of all, it's gonna have a width of 100% and a height of 100%, and this isn't gonna do much for us at the moment. It's still not gonna be looking perfectly, but let's also give it a controller, controls, controller or controls. Well, we'll find out. And let's also give it a preloader. So basically, if you have a very big no, it's not preloader, it's preload. If you have a very big file, an MP4 that's quite a few minutes long, it needs to load into the page. And therefore, this is gonna just show that loading, well, depending on the operating system and the browser, it's going to show you a loading animation, a loading whatever, wheel. And we might also want a poster for this. And we can call it cover.jpg if I remember correctly. That's how I think I named it. Yeah, it's cover.jpg. So let's save. Let's refresh. Well, that's better. But we're still having some issues here. We're having a bit of the edges around here. This isn't covering the full thing, so yeah, now if I'm gonna click play, it's gonna play, obviously. And that's not exactly what we want right now. So let's push forward. So style. And let's say here that in our style, everything is gonna have a margin 0. And a padding 0 as well, just to be safe. And then we're gonna say our HTML and body, they're going to have width 100% and height 100% height. Oh, come on. And this is to help us better position our elements into it, because we want to put it as a cover for our page. And then what else can we add? Let's put a container as an ID. and we're gonna say that this container is going to have a height of 100 VH, vertical height. This is specific to this CSS thing. Basically, we're trying to make this container as high as the browser allows us when it loads. Okay, so in order for us to bring that in, we have to wrap this video into a div. So let's do that really quick. I'm gonna put a div here. I'm gonna close it down here. And I'm gonna give it an ID. So let's say that this ID is gonna have the name container. Perfect. And we also have to tell our video, which is this one down here, that we want everything inside the video to have an object bit cover. Perfect. So let's test it out. I'm gonna keep the size like this, so I'm gonna refresh. You see? We already have everything displayed correctly now. We have no gaps. Everything is covering the entire surface. And if I would to make it like so, we're still having it all covered. So it's very responsive from this point of view. So if I'm gonna make it a bit smaller, again, responsive. This one is to make it full screen. And of course, if I refresh and press play, it's gonna do this. This one is a pop-up in case we want to give it outside of the window of the browser. But that's just an alternative way to do it. Now, right now I have set my browser to automatically play, so I allowed it to autoplay. But most sites that you see those animated backgrounds, they will not autoplay if you haven't muted the sound. If it's muted, they will autoplay. If it's not, they will not autoplay by default. Now, you might wonder, why did I go through all of this trouble to kind of fit everything like this? Well, let me show you something cool. Let's say I'm gonna make a div. And I'm gonna give it a height of 1000 pixels. What am I typing here? Height. Okay, so you see right now we have no scroll bar, no nothing. If I refresh, oh, I forgot to put pixels. wait, it's style. Height 1000 pixels. Jesus. Refresh. Okay, now we see we have a scroll bar, but our video is still loading as high and wide as our browser. If I'm gonna maximize it, we're still retaining the surface. Now if I scroll down, we have this 1000 pixels underneath. So this is how you do a cover when your page loads to be exactly as high and as wide as your browser window. So as I said, this will not autoplay. But in order to do this, we have a few options. We can remove the controls and we can say autoplay. And I think it's gonna autoplay regardless now because So now it's autoplaying, but when you're autoplaying, it's not not showing the poster anymore. So, and in this case, I have set it up to autoplay with my sound. But we can also mute it manually, you know? If you want to mute it, you just type here mute, and if you want to loop it, we just type loop. I think it's muted, not mute. And now, if we're going to refresh, bam, this is gonna loop indefinitely. It's not having the sound on, it's muted. We don't have the controllers anymore down here to click play. And obviously the cover doesn't display. So as you can see, with just a few lines of CSS, and this pretty much is the bare minimum that you can write. You can do so much more from here. But just by typing this, you get this beautiful thing. And you can go wild from here. You can make an entire page going like this. And you can even, the advantage of this technique is, for example, you can create a hierarchy, just like layers with z-index. And for example, you can overlap another image over this video playing in the background, or you can even put text or whatever you wish, and it's gonna stay centered in here. The only thing that you have to keep in mind is that it's gonna have to be in the container. And the z-index is a special property of CSS, but if you learn it, it's gonna help you on the long run. And I highly recommend learning CSS because although CSS is mostly used for, well, I wouldn't say only for web design, because even Inkscape has its interface connected to CSS to generate the colors and so on. Not everything, but some portions of it are written in CSS. And obviously the SVG itself contains some CSS code in the XML, so it's very useful to learn CSS on the long run, because you can do a lot of things with CSS. And then if you pair it up with JavaScript, you can do even more. Okay guys, you stay awesome. I'll catch you in the next episode. Bye 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 bye.